in this video, I'll be showing you how to make and decorate a cake. For this order, I'll be baking a yellow chiffon cake. Before starting the cake, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and prep the pans. To prep, you can use a non-stick cooking spray or butter. I recommend a 9-inch or 10-inch cake round, but I'm using an 8-inch in this video. If lined at the bottom of your pan, you can use a parchment paper and fold it multiple times in half, centering on a corner. Then measure the corner of the center of the pan and cut with edge meats, measuring the pan's radius. For the cake, you'll need 5 ounces cake flour, 4 ounces sugar, 2 teaspoons baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, 2.5 ounces vegetable oil, 3 3/4 ounces water, 1 to 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 4 eggs, and an additional 2.5 ounces of sugar. For the cake, start with sifting together your dry ingredients, which includes your flour, 4 ounces sugar, baking soda, and salt. This ensures no large clumps and a smoother batter. Then separate the egg yolks from the egg whites by jiggling the yolk from eggshell to eggshell. I like to do this individually in a separate bowl in case a yolk drips into the white or if there are any bad eggs. For the wet ingredients, mix the egg yolks with water, oil, and flavorings while mixing to create an emulsion. Once well mixed, add the liquid mixture into the dry mixture and mix very well until there are no lumps. Then set aside. To make the meringue, use a hand or stand mixer and beat the egg whites on medium-high. When the eggs become frothy, slowly add the 2.5 ounces of sugar while mixing. Once all the sugar is added, keep beating the eggs until it is between a soft and hard peak, which it should be able to stand up on its own when lifted. Then fold the meringue into the mixer from earlier with a rubber spatula. When folding, act like you are rowing a boat, making sure to not make the spatula go out of the batter and keep the air we just whipped in the batter. When no white streaks of meringue remain, immediately pan and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 45 minutes or until the sides of the cake release from the pan. After it's baked, cool on a wide rack. The cake may shrink on itself, which is completely normal as shown. After 30 minutes, I flip the cake out of the pan and let it continue to cool completely. If you are planning to bake ahead, you can wrap and freeze the cake for up to 3 months. To tart a cake, place your serrated knife horizontal to the cake and turn the cake without moving the knife. Slowly mark where you want to cut, then slowly move the knife closer to the center. Then do this with all your cake layers. To assemble, place the cake layer on a cake board, then brush some simple syrup across the cake to ensure its moisture. Simple syrup is equal parts water and sugar boiled together. Then add a layer of frosting and smooth it out. In my case, I'm using Swiss meringue buttercream, but you can use American buttercream, store-bought frosting, or whipped cream. Then add another cake layer and repeat the process. Once finished with all layers, crumb coat the outside of the cake with a thin layer of frosting. This doesn't need to look good, as it's just here to lock in all the crumbs. Then refrigerate until firm. After it's firm, frost the outside of the cake. First level the top of the cake, then straighten the sides. You can use a ruler, bench scraper, or any straight edge, but I don't have any, so I'm using a fondant smoother. To make sure the cake is straight, step back and look from afar. A turntable is really good for frosting round cakes, but if you don't have one, you can stack multiple cake pans on top of each other like I did. To fix the top edges, bring your straight edge from out to in like an airplane to clean it up. To decorate, I'll be using a Wilton No. 3 tip to pipe ropes along the sides. First, practice on a piece of parchment. Make sure to constantly be applying pressure to squeeze out frosting while lifting and dragging the lines. To make borders, I'm using a Wilton 4B tip and piping it along the bottom and top edges of the cake. Hold where you want to pipe, squeeze, and slowly lift away, making sure to start where the previous shell ended. To make smaller borders, I will be using a Wilton tip No. 32 and piping it above the previous borders. To make rosettes, use a Wilton No. 14 tip and pipe a circle while flicking the end away. To make neat tails, stop applying pressure, then flick. I like to make rosettes where the ropes start or end and all across the top border of the cake. To finish the rosettes, use a Wilton No. 66 tip. Apply pressure at one spot, stop, then pull away quickly to create little leaves. Do this for all the rosettes. To clean up the cake of any mistakes, you can freeze the cake in the fridge, then use a paintbrush to smoothen out the frosting. I like to do this for the top of the cake before writing and on the side decorations if I messed up. Lastly, if there are any words you want to write, you can use a Wilton number 2 tip and practice on a piece of parchment, then write it on top of the cake. In my case, I'm writing happy birthday. Thank you for watching. The end.